Hello, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. This is Vlog Media Breeze, and I have some breaking news for you guys today. As you know, I mostly do Real Housewives. I also do Love and Marriage Huntsville, and every now and again, I will do In the News or breaking news at the end of the week. And I want to share, I have a lot of good information for you. Some people may have already broken the news to you. I hope not. I hope I'm the first. If not, that's okay too, because I'm still early. Um, when you like something, you like something when you show up on time and there's like practically no one else there. So I'm going, you guys have to know I like this because I'm on time. And whenever I go to other channels, not that they don't like what they do, but sometimes they're a little tardy for the party. And so again, welcome. Listen, if you are new to my channel, Vlog Media Breeze, please feel free, hit the like, subscribe, and the notifications bell. I understand that oftentimes people do not receive their notifications. I don't know what that's about, but click it anyway. Okay. I know as for me, with my favorite channels, I will go over to my favorite channels like Kempire, Jamie, that's me, Bondi Blue, Tasha K, all of those. And I'll go over there just to click a like. Okay. And I try to pay attention to their commercials as well because the commercials and the supporters, the business supporters here on YouTube are really what keep the company going and it keeps the other channels running. So if you are not supporting advertisers on YouTube, make sure you have someone here that you're supporting. Um, Even if you're just buying a vehicle, buying a new car, you know, use one of the sources that's advertising on a place where you actually support. I learned through marketing, it doesn't make sense for me to not support advertisers of even channels on TV that I like to watch. I learned that early on in my college career, and I pay attention to it. I really do. I know I bought things off of Tasha K's channel, the things that she sells, and I saw her advertising something last night. It looked like a soap and fragrance and all that stuff, and it looked really pretty. So I may have to look into that as well. But I digress. Let's get right into it. I want to share some breaking news. You may, like I said, have already heard some of it, but this is like Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj and her man are being sued by the victim. And let's see here. I'm going to bring it up here for you. If you cannot see it, let me know. Okay, but this is, of course, Nicki Minaj. This is the attorney, right? This is Nicki Minaj. She is also going to be hosting or co-hosting partially with Andy Cohen on the Real Housewives of Potomac. They're going to be there. There's Andy Cohen. This is Jennifer, the victim, and this is her attorney, Tyrone Blackman, I think his name is. But we're going to read a little bit of an update about what is going on with them. This is the sources, page 6. As you can see, I'm using my PowerPoint. But Nicki Minaj's lawyer is threatening her husband's alleged victim. And I can't say the R word on here, but you see the word. Her alleged R victim and her attorney with court sanctions, claiming that the pair filed a disgraceful lawsuit in an attempt to get rich and famous. As you recall, they sued Nicki Minaj for 25 million dollars, and the case came before the courts, and Nicki Minaj and her husband did not show up, and I believe allegedly a an automatic verdict was given to them, and so now we have this attorney, Nicki Minaj's attorney, and her husband coming out, and they're suing them, saying that they are attempting to get rich and famous. I do not believe that the victim is trying to be famous. She wanted to be left alone, quite frankly. She wanted to be left alone, and they started bullying her, wanting her to drop the charges. And as a result of their actions, they're in trouble, and now they're continuing to bully her with using their attorneys. I don't get it, you guys. Nicki Minaj is not coming across very good. She's not coming across in a good light through this process right here. Anyway, um, in 1994, Jennifer Huff accused Kenneth Petty of forcing her to have the S word in the Bronx when they were both 16. And Petty served more than 4 years in prison after pleading guilty to attempted R as part of a plea deal. So he's already pled guilty. So he should have just left well enough alone. He did his time, he pled guilty to it, but no, he allowed Nicki allegedly to talk him into having her drop the charges so that they would not have to report her address. Allegedly. The bottom line is she didn't want people knowing their whereabouts where they lived. Excuse me, you guys, I'm having like a really good glass of Argentina wine. If you ever buy Cabernets and yeah, Cabernets, Argentina wines are the best. But anyway, then in August 2021, Huff sued Petty and the rap superstar, who he married in 2019, claiming that the pair had attempted to harass and intimidate her into withdrawing her testimony before the fateful trial. Now, this is a woman who wanted to be left alone. So if they were not bothering her, why would she even want to come out and have this kind of exposure? For her, it wasn't even about the money. It was about getting them to leave her alone. And it was also about fear because they were using fear tactics. Now, I mean, allegedly, okay. Now, Minaj's attorney has sent a letter to Huff's lawyer, Tyrone A. Blackburn. You know, Tyrone is just coming up. You know, he is the same attorney who is allegedly well, not even allegedly, he's come out and said he's representing some of the victims in the case with Ti and Tiny. Okay, so his Huff's lawyer has sent a letter to Blackburn threatening to demand that the court sanction both because he claims the suit is full of obvious mistruths. Judges can make attorneys and their clients pay fines or slap them with other punishments known as sanctions for failing to follow procedures or abusing the justice system. I don't think that they are abusing the justice system. They're not abusing it, okay? In papers sent to Blackburn, Minaj's attorney, Judd Burstein, so that's their attorney, Judd Burstein, said this case is a disgrace filed by a lawyer who, in pursuit of some cheap publicity, rushed to file papers asserting outlandishly false allegations against Minaj, which have absolutely no support in the law. Meanwhile, Burstein accused Huff of dragging Minaj into the case because she's looking for a big payout. Minaj has been sued by Huff for the crime of being a rich celebrity capable of paying a judgment who fell in love with and married Mr. Petty, he wrote. Reached for comment, Blackburn told us Burstein is using this tasteless tactic to distract people from the actions of Minaj and Petty. The public is not going to be fooled. Burstein declined to comment. So, what do you guys think? You know, let me know what you all think about this issue with Nicki Minaj. Because do you think that it's fair that they are coming after her? Do you think that it's fair that they are coming after her? And let me do this real quick here. Okay. That they're coming after her. And for me, I think it's reasonable that they come after her because she is the one who started the harassment started the harassment against Jennifer Huff started while she was married to Kenneth. Before that, Kenneth had not bothered that girl. He had not bothered her. And they wanted her to drop the charges, allegedly. What other reason would she have to be bringing this up? It's Nicki needs to bow out and settle. That is my commentary, my review, my thought process on that particular case is she needs to bow out and settle. And she needs to have some empathy, even if you are a wife, have some empathy for this young woman as a female. Because if this same thing had happened to Nicki and the shoe was on the other foot and people were doing to her what has happened to this girl, Nicki needs to really empathize with this woman. And the way you empathize with someone is you have to think about what that would be like if something like that happened to you. Um, so the next update, you guys, is information on Alec Baldwin. This is not real big information, but it's enough. And so I'm going to share this with you, share my screen again. Um, This is Alec Baldwin and his wife, okay, coming out of a restaurant, they say, in New York. This is also page 6 is the source. Um, it says here, Alec Baldwin was just slapped with a lawsuit from a crew member for negligence. The film's gopher, Serge, I don't know how you say his name. Normally the S is silent, and it would be Vetnoy or Savetnoy. So Serge Savetnoy or Serge Vetnoy claimed he held 42-year-old Hutchins, and that's the lady who lost her life in this accident on film. Um, he held her in his arms as blood poured from her gunshot wound and desperately tried to save her after Alec accidentally shot her with a loaded prop gun. I want to pause here and say to you guys, you should never, unless you are an experienced medic or someone in the medical field, when someone has been shot with a gunshot wound, you should leave them alone. If someone has been hit by a car, you leave them alone. You should not touch them. I have always been told that, even from a young girl. I know there was a little boy in our neighborhood who had been hit by one of the people who drives a truck in the neighborhood, and people were really upset about that. Um, and I don't know if the person got out of the truck, and at some point they were the other people in the medical field in the neighborhood were saying he shouldn't have touched the little boy because sometimes you cause their early exit of life by bothering them. It's better to let them sit there naturally and just bar everyone else from being around them while you call um, medical assistance and let them handle that process. The gentleman who touched this woman afterwards, that's what I'm going to say. That's my commentary on that is he should have left her alone um, until they got help there, unless he's someone who has a medical background. But he says that he desperately tried to save her after Alec accidentally shot her with a loaded prop gun. According to the lawsuit filed Tuesday in Los Angeles County Court, so that's where the lawsuit was filed, and it goes on to say Vetnoy claimed the 30 Rock alum should have checked the gun before pulling the trigger. From what I understand, they never check the guns before pulling the trigger because their mindset is in a different place. They have completely transferred their mind to being the character in the movie. So for them to say, "Oh, you should check the gun," for them, the actor or the thespian, they're thinking they don't want to come out of character because then that's a lot of work to get back in character because after that you will have to have multiple takes, and from what I understand, they don't like to do multiple takes in the movie. They like to keep that at a minimum. And a lot of times they have in the past, I've heard them talk about it. Even when Jay Leno's show was on, you would hear the actors and act, the actresses come on talking about, we had to do so many takes for this. It was really tiring. And that's why movies take so long, because they're trying to find that perfect visual. So for Vetnoy to say that Alex should have come out of character to check the trigger, the gun, before pulling the trigger, that's supposed to be taken care of before he touches the gun. That's why they have people there, on site checking all of that stuff. Goes on to say that Alec owed a duty to me and other crew members and actors on the Rust, and that's the name of the movie, set to handle the Colt revolver provided to him by assistant director David. Now, I would even say the assistant director should have checked the gun. I do not think that Alec has, um, other than the guilt and whatever else is going on with him mentally for this issue, he is not responsible for this. He's not responding, and other people out there saying, and I've been on other channels, and they say, "Oh, he should have checked. He should have." Those are dumbfounded comments, because anyone who knows anything about acting knows those people are in full character, especially an actor like an A-lister like Alec Baldwin. He's in full character. His mind is not on the gun, unless his full character entails him listening to the director or the direction of the movie. This gentleman, you all, with all due respect, and allegedly, sounds like someone who's looking for a payday. You held the woman. At least you tried to save her life. Move on. Why do you want to go after Alec? He didn't do anything directly to you, and she's not your wife. Now, I could see if the husband wanted to get something out of Alec not that I think that Alec is at fault, but I could understand if Alec wanted to, you know, just a heartfelt something, But for this gentleman here, the golfer, I mean, really, golfers, they don't get paid much anyway in these movies, to my knowledge. Um, so he says Alec owed a duty to him and other crew members and actors on the Rust set. This is someone trying to create havoc, really, and in someone else's life while that person is going through something themselves. Because can you imagine how Alec is feeling? But you can see the rest of it here. It says, provided to him by Assistant David Halls with reasonable care and diligence for the safety of Rust cast and crew, the suit stated. Vetnoy claimed he's suffering emotional distress from the incident. He is demanding unspecified damages. So where's your empathy? Because Alec is also suffering emotional distress. So should he come after you? Because maybe you're causing him even more emotional distress for this process. Drop the lawsuit, dude. Drop the lawsuit, get a life, move on. Are you kidding me? You tried to save a life in this process, and now you're saying Alec did something to hurt you, that he's caused your emotional distress? No, he has not caused your emotional distress. Everyone on that set is emotionally distressed. Everyone on that set is emotionally distressed. So what I say to the emotional distress, seek counseling. Seek something to really rebuild your EQ and to put you back on task. It's going to be difficult to do that after an experience like that, but something to help you move forward. Money is not going to help you move forward, Vetnoy or Savetnoy. He's demanding unspecified damages, you guys. Alec has not responded to the lawsuit. Alec, don't respond. Get your attorney. Let him do your PR stuff. Don't say a word, Alec. Don't say it, because you have one of those personalities. Sometimes it just, you want to come out there. You'll be upset about this because you yourself are going through something and you don't want to misdirect that anger. Just be quiet. If the press, TMZ, anyone comes out, wants to question you, always express your sorrow and keep it moving. Express your sorrow and keep it moving. It's just ridiculous, this lawsuit. But so that's what's going on there. Okay, here's Alec and his beautiful wife. A-lister right here, you guys. I mean, top-notch actor. Big heart. If you've seen him in interviews over the decades, you will know he has a really big heart. He's a really nice guy. He empathizes with the lowest of people. I shouldn't say lowest, that's not a good word. He empathizes with the most humble. Forgive me, you guys. I mean, with people who are economically depressed. He does empathize. That's what I'm saying. So I digress on that one as well. So you guys get in the comments. Let me know your thoughts about this as well, about Alec Baldwin and this lawsuit. What do you think about it? The other thing that I want to share with you here, well, just by the way, you guys, did you hear about Lisa Rinna? Her mom has suffered a stroke, so, it's hard to lose a parent. I have lost both my parents, you guys, and it is the biggest void in your life. And it's a void for a long time. You go to pick up the phone to call, and you can't call them. You keep their number in your phone, even though you know they're not around anymore. And I know for a long time, my mother's voicemail was still on her phone, so I would call just to hear her voice on her voicemail. And now someone else has the number, but it's never an easy thing to lose a parent. So, in spite of what you think of Lisa Rinna, let's pray for comfort for her and pray for strength and that God gets her through this because she loves her mother. And Lisa says she is transitioning. So that means that she might be in hospice or they are not expecting her to come out of this stroke. So I haven't really gotten all of the news on it. I just saw it over there on page 6 that Lisa's mom had a stroke and that Lisa says that her mother is transitioning. So that was Nicki Minaj, Alec Baldwin. And I'm not going to share the screen on this one, but I want to talk to you about an update in the Travis Scott case, because with Travis Scott, they did say that they had lost 8 people, right? But I think this is Fox News, and the title of this one says San Antonio lawyer representing almost 70 people in Astro World lawsuit. The attorneys were ambulance chasing on this one, right? They found out it was Travis Scott and they couldn't wait. They grabbed up everyone. They were up probably all night trying to find people they could represent because they need their cut. And nowadays, attorneys no longer get that, what, they used to get 30%, now it's like 40, 45%. Before you know it, they're going to be getting like 90% and you're going to be getting 10. Ridiculous, ridiculous. Some of the smartest professions on this earth, and they're greedy. They really are. Attorneys are greedy, guys. But this says San Antonio lawyer representing almost 70 people in Astro World lawsuit. San Antonio-based attorney Thomas J. Henry is representing 68 people in a lawsuit against Travis Scott, Drake. So they've named Drake in this lawsuit. Live Nation, so they've named the organization, and NRG Stadium. So they are also naming the sponsors. Okay? After the rapper's Astro World Music Festival turned fatal. More and more injured victims are contacting my firm by the hour, Thomas J. Henry said in a press release. So Thomas J. Henry is the attorney. While we are all still working to understand the full scope of the Astro World tragedy, I believe the damages suffered by its victims could total in the billions, Henry continued. This is a greedy attorney. No way should it total in the billions. And I just want to pause here and say, what happened to um, other lawsuits, like the one, and I'm going to say alleged, even though it was reported. It was even reported by TMZ some years ago with what's the Latina girl who had a concert and people died and were injured in her concert as well. Oh my goodness, what is her name? Ariana Grande. What about that? So it goes on to say on November the 5th, Scott was performing on stage in Houston when a reported crowd surge occurred, leading to the deaths and injuries of many concert goers. I think the concert goers ought to be sued. Why you don't have sense enough to know you shouldn't be that tight? And how can you enjoy the concert if you're that close to somebody? The rapper has since faced criticism for allowing the show to continue while people were struggling in the crowd. The musician claims he didn't know the severity of the situation. I believe that because he stopped several times to address it. He stopped, he looked at the ambulance, and I think he's probably seen that before. Here is his downfall though. From what I understand, allegedly, he has had to face the court system about issues at his concerts in the past. So why didn't he take better precautions this time to at least show that, look, I went to court for this, and this time I did this. I added this as a protection. He seems to be ignoring it. And you guys, I'm just going to be real with you right here, okay? But I want to read this to you first. A ninth person has died from injuries sustained at Astro World Music Festival. So now it's no longer 8, it's 9. This person, the Texas A&M student, Barty Shahani, that's Bharti, last name Shahani, who was critically injured at Astro World, has died. Her attorney confirmed on Thursday. She is the 9th fatality of Houston Music Festival. Shahani's family attorney confirmed she passed on November 10th. That was yesterday, you guys, at 6:50 p.m. and she was 22 years old. So that victim has now passed away. And the 9-year-old, from what I understand, is still in the hospital. So you guys just gonna sit there and not get down in the comments. That's what makes my live streams look very suspicious. And it is why, if you look at my previous videos, I have created videos against certain ones. You can go back and look at them because of what I'm looking at now. It's the same people who show up and they try to manipulate the video into making me think that I have a whole lot of people here when I really don't. Because when I go back and I look at the live results, it will show 1 concurrent and then it will show like 90 views or 11 views or something like that. Like in my last video, They tried to go back in and make it look like 6,000 some views when the reality was it wasn't, because there were only 12 comments. And I know enough on average on YouTube that does not happen. Look at them. One of them has left. They went to go do their dirty. God is going to deal treacherously with you for real. But they just left you here, didn't they? Look. Or they closed out of one of their other accounts. They have multiple accounts that they set up. And then they follow me over to Kempire when I do Kempire. When I go over there on Kempire, I see them. Just ridiculous, just evil. I digress. Let me move forward. So that was the news on Travis Scott. I want to talk to you about an interview that I watched with Tasha K. And I don't know who the gentleman was. I was trying to capture his name. I want to say it was Rob as well, but I don't know if he was R. Kelly's manager. I know at one point he worked with R. Kelly. And Tasha K did an interview with him. As you know, if you look at my videos from a couple of weeks ago, I had started going through the documents on the R. Kelly trial, and I stopped midway through them, mainly because I wasn't getting any views, and I want to attract views. I don't want to be sitting here always talking to myself. So but last night, I have a big concern about R. Kelly because one of the reasons I started to look at the documents that were filed against him is I noticed that a lot of people had a different view than me. I'm on the free R. Kelly mode, and everyone else is on the arrest R. Kelly mode. And it's a lot of people against me. So, not against me, but who are not in alliance with my thought process. So I started looking into it. And I'm going to tell you, after watching that interview last night with Tasha K, I am going to revert back to my free R. Kelly mode. The reason is the FBI, the justice system, judges. You can even look at the judge in this case with the young Caucasian male who went around and shot up a bunch of people at a protest, at a Black Lives Matter protest. Get this. His W mother sent him out there, allegedly. People are saying his mother sent him out there and told him to go kill people. Can you believe that? That tells you the mentality behind the female culture of that, the female nature of that culture. And I'm looking at R. Kelly's case not in the way that I agree. I don't know if the alleged victims or the victims should not have had this done to them. They should not have been taken advantage of, because I remember being young and making rash decisions, and I would not have liked for someone to take advantage of me amid all of that, amid my growth. I would not have liked that. And I do know how, as young women, as we are growing into adulthood, which really for some of us comes early on, as early as 16 in high school, we get excited about life, and we don't know we're getting excited about life, but we're excited about freedom and moving forward, graduating high school, going to college, getting on our own, uh, having our own income, leaving our parents' houses, all of these things. And in the meantime, that excitement can sometimes overwhelm us in a way that we don't know that it is overwhelming us. And we can become victim or vulnerable to people who have more maturity than us and who really are predators. That can happen. So that being said, I do not agree with anything that happened to the victims. What I'm looking at is the fact that R. Kelly was working, and this is what took place last night on Tasha K's show. What the man said that she interviewed, and you can go back on there because she has it on her YouTube channel. A lot of her videos are now on TashaKLive.com. If you join that, then you can get them immediately, and you also get exclusive interviews that she's done. Which, let me tell you, she's better than Wendy Williams. Tasha K, I mean, in spite of what we see her antics over here on YouTube, because she just comes, it's hilarious sometimes, you guys. I promise to God, it is so hilarious. Sometimes she just comes out impromptu. It can be in the morning, in the evening, if she's having a bad day and she just gets on there and just goes to town. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it is hilarious sometimes. However, when she sits down in an interview, it's a whole nother person. And that's why I like being a subscriber of her channel. And but these are some of the things that were said last night, and I'm going to say allegedly because I may be a little choppy in communicating it to you. The gentleman she interviewed last night worked with R. Kelly for decades. He and R. Kelly, they met when he was very young. His mom owned I think clubs and grocery stores in Chicago. And so he grew up a little, little privileged black guy, okay? A little privileged black guy. His mom put him in tap dancing, and he and his brother, I think he said, they would tap dance. And through that process, they met someone associated with R. Kelly and then met R. Kelly. Um, so these are some of the things that he said. And if you want to get the specifics, like I said, you can go over to Tasha K Live and you can get it. And I'm going to preface this by saying allegedly, again, because I may be a little choppy and I might miss some language as I flow through this, okay? But this interview caused me to revert back to R. Kelly not doing the time that the justice system, or supposed justice system if you're black, is trying to hold him accountable for. So he said that the people who worked around R. Kelly had created scenarios wherein if lawsuits came into play, they could borrow money from the label to settle. He also said that they created false portals. He described a portal as being similar or likened to an ATM or a Dropbox, where all of the financials were kept in a portal, and you had separate portals depending on the um, reason for the finance. And I'm just saying that's my language when I say the reason. For example, there were portals for the music that R. Kelly wrote and his ownership of that music. But what happened was the people who worked around him created other portals. And see, R. Kelly trusted these people. So at the time, he thought they were helping him because the he was the money. He's the brand. He's putting out the music. He's the face. He's the reason people are buying the music. He's the reason people are going to the concerts. He's the reason even if he sold a pair of tennis shoes or a t-shirt, people would have been out buying it. He's the reason for all of that. And he felt like that he was trusting these people. And this is sometimes, you guys, where education comes into play. When we are well educated, it allows us to bring into continuity what is happening around us. And I'm not saying everyone, I'm just saying that the more educated you are, the more apt you are to be able to determine and decipher between what's going on with your finances in your life. communications, in business, education is key. My grandparents used to always say that. It is key. It was important to them that we were educated. They loved it when I went to college, even though I didn't know what I was doing. Really had no idea. I just, it was just normal for me. It was a normal process of life. I didn't know any better, which is probably a good thing for me. Um, I digress. I want to say this interviewee on Tasha K also said that at one point, as he was deciphering through the financial records, he wondered where did the $4 million go because Rob didn't get it. So when they followed a money trail, they would find that $4 million in a restaurant, or someone used some of it to purchase a house. And it wasn't R. Kelly's house. It was the house of the people who were working amid R. Kelly. He even said that at one point they tracked over $100 million from different agreements that had been signed. They had signed R. Kelly's name. And these agreements were signatures from his crew members, you guys. Your crew members shouldn't be signing no freaking agreement for you. You guys, this is a very hard lesson learned, because what is happening is for some of these monies, R. Kelly is serving time for some of these monies, and it was his crew members who signed the agreement. So R. Kelly, remember, if you go back to my videos, and I wish I should have had it out in front of me, but I don't, and I don't really want to go get it now, even though I'm sitting in front of my computer. um, I don't know. Maybe I should try to pull it up. I have so many things up right now. The point is, they're getting him uh, for other other violations of the law that are unrelated to what he did to the young women involved. When you look at this whole case, it is more than just the young women who are involved. The young women are the resources that were used to expedite this case to the level that it has been raised to. They go on to mention someone named Linda, who was the president of all his enterprises, and she was also his attorney. The president of your company should not also be your attorney. If I'm the president, I should not be the attorney unless I have a law firm. Your attorney is supposed to be the objective partner of your company when you're in the music industry. So if you're the president and the attorney, can you imagine how much shish you can get done? I'm like overwhelmed. I was so overwhelmed. I was like, I had to turn the television off from the Tasha K interview and just go upstairs. And I was like, I'll just look at the rest of it tomorrow. I was just so overwhelmed. And it really caused me to feel even more empathy for R. Kelly, you guys. It really did. Aside from the victims, okay, or what happened to them, because if those things happen, he does need to do time. My issue is the amount of time they're trying to do this man for. They're trying to give him an enormous amount of time, whereas we have been fighting. And Al Sharpton, where is he on this? Really, people like that, people who are out here for civil rights, they're afraid of losing their own grain, so you don't hear them come out for this stuff because they don't want to. They only want to come out for the politics. Don't no damn body care about the Democrats. Let's be real, Al Sharpton. Don't nobody care about the Democrats. You see what Biden is doing. I digress. I have a whole nother view on Biden. I told you in another one of my videos, he is Trump differently. Remember when I said that? Joe Biden is President Trump differently. They're the same people differently. The R. Kelly stuff, whenever something touches me this way, I think that because I'm so close to God, I pray, I meditate, I read my Bible, um, I I live my life of repentance. I am not perfect. I'm very, very, very flawed. Anyone who has ever read your Bible and you try to change your life, you know, the more you change it, the worse you see yourself, really. That's very true. The more you change it, you're like, dig, I'm worse now than I was when I when I didn't know who I was. Okay. Um, I say that because when something like this touches my spirit the way that R. Kelly has, I cannot ignore it. I cannot ignore it. They are doing too much for him. And I think that explains some of his anguish with Gail that day when we saw him standing up and trying to communicate that, listen, I didn't do all these things. And what people did was they took the fact that he stood up trying to say I didn't do all these things as he actually did them. Because that's what the devil and Satan has tried to make you guys believe, make you believe that just because someone reacts to something, that it means they did it, when that is not always the case. People, the majority, like I react. If you accuse me of doing something I didn't do, I'm like, B, no, I didn't. And you can take it how you want. I'm telling you, I didn't do it, and I didn't do it. And maybe that's the part of me that makes me relate to him. Um, we took that scenario of him standing and hovering over Gail as, do you see how he stood up and he hovered over Gail? I thought he was going to hit her. He is this and he is that, right? And I believe the reason he continues to reach out to the other young lady, a lot of people saying is that he is trying to manipulate her. And I think it is his ignorance. He doesn't know any better. He's trying to reach out for help because he feels like he has no help. And he doesn't know that it is really making him look bad. It is making him look like a manipulator. I was only going to be on here 45 minutes. I was trying to, because, you know, Kempire has a show coming up at 5, and I wanted to be here and out before he starts because I do want to go over and listen to his show. I'm gonna wrap this up as soon as possible so I don't miss too much of it. Maybe he'll be late, right? Okay. Um, at any rate, the $4 million was an issue. They tracked over $100 million from different agreements signed by crew members, not R. Kelly. Yet that type of stuff is a part of the case that they're holding against him, and that they have the charges that they have brought against him. He talks about somebody named Barry. He said that Barry, and I think that Barry might be Aaliyah's uncle. Okay. He said that Barry attracted people for his own agenda in order to steal from R. Kelly. So Barry is a predator. Barry is a predator. And he said that when R. Kelly learned about the issue, he wanted to then get rid of Barry, but he was having a hard time because they started to um, use the things that they had already done that he didn't know about. They started to use those things to blackmail R. Kelly. This is alleged on this channel, okay? I'm reporting to you now. We're in the midst of talking about the Tasha K interview with one of R. Kelly's partners that she did last night, and I believe the partner. So the last thing I will say to you about the R. Kelly case that I heard last night was the gentleman, the interviewee on Tasha K, said that these people who were supposed to be working for R. Kelly and doing the right thing by him Because as you know, most stars, or a lot of stars, like take a Denzel Washington, the people who are working around him, they're working for him. They recognize he's a brand. They are protecting him. Your PR people, your marketing people, your business partners, your attorneys, you have yourself surrounded by these people because you want them to protect your brand and to protect your finances. And now we understand why Oprah said a long time ago she signs her own checks. If she didn't sign it, you can't cash it. She has a deal with the bank and anyone else that if she didn't sign it, it can't be sent. But R. Kelly is not on that level of Oprah. So he didn't do that. He did what the industry had been doing, industry standard. You have these people around you because you want them to protect you. And he was just focused on his music, thinking that these people around him were helping him and they were harming him. And now he's doing their time. Um, there was an organization called ASCAP, which was set up as a nonprofit. And the interviewee said that they had used that to create a company to make it look like ASCAP and the nonprofit. In reality, it was a dummy company. He mentioned Cheryl Mack, who had some involvement in the ASCAP. And Tasha K said, Cheryl Mack, but didn't she just testify against R. Kelly? And he said, yes. So here's a person who was working for R. Kelly, who was involved in the money, and now she's testifying against R. Kelly. Listen, there's a profile out there for her. She is a profile. She ain't the first person to do something like this against a person or a company. She's the devil. You guys, you got to get the devil from around you. You need to be gazed in on anyone in your circle. And that's what I will say to that. Um, the last thing I want to show you is Real Housewives. You know, I love Real Housewives, right? I love Real Housewives. Okay. So I want to share with you, if I can find it here. Are you guys familiar with Charisse? Charisse Jackson Jordan. I want to play something for you from her. I wanted to try to move the audio. Um, I don't want to show the visual because it is from the Daily Dish, the Bravo channel. I don't know how I'm going to do the visual. I think you know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to talk to you about it because I wanted to only do the audio. And Charisse talks about, let's see, I don't know if I can do this. I don't want to get in trouble for it. That's my issue. I don't want to get in trouble for it. But let me ask you guys this. Why are you not in my comments? Not one person has written a comment. That means you're sketchy. That means you are very sketchy. That means you are not over here for the right reasons. I go on other channels, people are all over the comments. And I come over here, this means that Google is doing something against my channel. That's what that means. It means that the people who are coming over here are not real. I know I've set it up for subscribers as well. So all you have to do is subscribe if you want to comment, if you have a question, if you have an interest in something that I said. Um, but basically, what I was going to share with you about Charisse is um, let's see here. I'm going to see if I can find the content, the wording for it. Let's see. Sorry, it's taking a while. Huh. And you know what I should have done? Oh my gosh, I just noticed something here. What that I should have done. Um, you guys can probably see that, right? Um, can you hear this when I play it? Let me know if you can hear it. Can you guys hear it? Oh goodness. This is not. Okay, I'm gonna play it. If you see it, then I may have to take it down. I may have to take this video down. I hope not. But here it is. Can you guys hear it? I think I'm gonna stop sharing it because I didn't have the audio on. Okay, so you guys pretty much get it, right? Um, this is Charisse. Charisse is talking about her relationship with Monique, and she's saying how um, she's accusing Monique of being manipulative and all of these other things. And she's saying that Monique didn't want her talking to the other women. And I don't know, you guys. I don't know if I believe Charisse on that because Charisse was very hurt when Monique decided not to have anything else to do with her. Because remember, Monique is the one who ended that relationship. And I can't say that I don't believe her when she says that Monique did not want her to be friends with the other women. I think the other women didn't want her to be friends with Monique because what she just described about Monique was also Robin. Remember, Robin had Charisse's last season in Real Housewives of Potomac. Robin sat down and had a meeting with her. They were at a restaurant, and Robin was talking her out of being friends with Monique. Robin kept telling her Um, she's using your friends, she's doing this and that, when the reality was that Charisse knew that Monique was bringing Sherman's ex onto the show. Charisse was involved in that as well. So for her to now say that Monique didn't want her to be friends with the rest of the women, when we saw on the show that it was the other women who didn't want you to be friends with Monique, Charisse can't be trusted. That's probably why her husband divorced her ass. I never liked Charisse on the show. I didn't like her at all because she always seemed like one of these women who loved to portray a certain amount of wealth that she did not have. And you didn't see the other part of the video where she said that her husband told her if she did the show, he would leave her. Your husband, after 20 some years of knowing you, is going to leave the show, going to leave you over a show? No, honey. I don't believe that at all. After 20 some years, if he's going to leave you just because of the show, there were other things going on in his mind and he was planning on leaving you anyway. Had nothing to do with the show. Had nothing to do with the show. Now he probably did not want you to be on the show because he didn't want to be exposed. But as we can see, he doesn't really have to be exposed other than showing up at a dinner with you and uh, you know, comrading with the men on the show. Um, but I just wanted to show you that about Charisse, to get your ideas and thought processes on that. So get down in the comments. I was going to talk about Dorit's break-in. I digress on that. Maybe when I get some updates on it, I will. And I was also going to talk to you about Andy Cohen and his departure or demotion from Bravo. But I'm going to need to do a little more research on that, and then I'll get back to you on it. Other than that, get in the comments, tell me what you thought about this video, and I am going to go ahead and go over here to a different channel. As you know, I love YouTube. The channels, not the company, but the chat, not Google. I don't love Google, but I do love the YouTubers, the content providers on the channel, the advertisers. I do like the idea. And I will see you guys in the next one. Many blessings to you. Bye bye.